All right, I am recording this. All right, so 1-point perspective, as you see, has this orientation where everything is like going away, directly away from you. And that's one way to see things in perspective. 2-point perspective is just a different view of things. That. Right, and I'm going to use my sketch paper here. All right, so if you are, 1-point perspective is you looking, so here's you, and there's an object sitting, like the object is like this. You imagine this in plan view, and the sides are receding this straight away, and these two other edges don't recede from you. In 2-point, so this is 1 point. In 2-point, the object is turned like that. You're still looking straight ahead, but this corner is closest to you, not that, not this like side surface. And you have the receding edges are going out at a right angle from that point. And so instead of a vanishing point in the middle where you might see this object like that, you have left vanishing point, right vanishing point, and instead of that, you see the closest thing is the corner, so you would start it like a taller vertical line. Shorter so it doesn't distort so much. Okay. So this is like the difference between 1 point and 2 point. Maybe I can, I'll draw that a little bit larger. 2-point perspective, you want to make sure that your vanishing points are out on the ends, not too close together. If they are too close together, then you'll get distortion. Because like this, in terms of like perspective, like what you can see is like right, like what's normal, like normal comfortable view is like right in the middle. Out here, gets into your peripheral vision, and so in a perspective drawing, you could draw way out here, but it would almost be like you're drawing what's in front of you and then way out on the sides, and it creates an image that's not as realistic. So with the vanishing points out here, I would avoid getting. I don't want to get too close to them with my object because it'll create distortion and make it look incorrect. Whoops. That is there. Good. All right? So that's 2-point perspective. There. And then I want to make sure that this is nice and straight. Drawing this freehand can be a bit of an adventure. But do your best. Now you'll notice I draw fairly quickly. What I usually do is draw fairly quickly and lightly, and then I can make corrections. I find it easier to make corrections. So, and it's a lot easier to draw quickly, like in a sketchy way, if you're confident that you're doing it right. I understand if you're not sure you're doing it right, it's a sort of a natural, more like a natural approach to be like careful, and it can seem kind of tentative. All right, so there's a difference between 1 and 2-point perspective, which is important. We usually see the world in 2-point perspective because if you're walking around, you turn, you walk like just we don't usually see everything just like zooming straight away from us. We usually see a more complex view, but in an interior space, it is a much more efficient way to organize space to keep things set at right angles. Sometimes you do have something turned, diagonally in a corner. But if you're looking at a space, like if I take this little sketch that I made here, and I want to turn that this way so that the viewer, and this is like the term for this point is a station point, and it is the position of a viewer in a floor plan. I'm looking this way, so what's right in front of me is there. The corner is going to be off to the right. Station. You won't need to worry about the station point for several weeks. We're going to use that when we get into some of the more detail, like some of the more advanced perspective drawings. Now, here, let's back it up a little bit and say we're going with 2-point perspective. So just to set this up as a perspective drawing, like we set up the 1-point drawing, horizon line, and let's make sure you can see that. There, my vanishing point out there. And then instead of starting with a flat rectangle, I'm just going to draw an object sitting there. Vertical line. From the top and the bottom of the vertical line, and then I'm going to draw vertical edges on the ends. And then here to this. With the 2-point perspective, I think a straight edge might help you a little more, because when you get up like back here and you're going all the way back over to this vanishing point, it can be really hard to keep that straight. The tendency is to like angle it up a little bit, because it just, you might like I think honestly it's just like almost like it's a more comfortable mentally that you show it more as a rectangle. Like, you're going to draw, you might want to draw it like, I'm not going to put that there. Well, let me just try. I'm going to draw this inaccurately and show you. So foreshortening is when you see something in perspective and it sort of compresses, like it's at you see it at an oblique angle. But like if I think like, well, I know it's rectangular, and I really want to just say like, see, it's a rectangle. That's not right, because this edge right here needs to go here. If I draw this here and it hits the that like line keeps going and it hits the vanishing point there, I'm very far away from where I actually need to go. So don't do that. Even though your brain might tell you, no, you got to see that rectangle, your brain's wrong. The nice thing about perspective will help you. And you do it this way, you do it that way, and the corner, that back corner, is down here. And that's the opposite it's the opposite of this corner in the front. And, if you want to see where's the, like where are those hidden edges? And then that should be like right. If you do that right, that should fall like, go right down and match up with that line right there. This is very useful if you're drawing something like a table where you can, like the top is, up here and you can see the bottom there. If you have something like a, this little, like there's a, here. There's a little right angle down here. So like that goes to the vanishing point, that goes to the vanishing point. There. See, now in this case, if this is just like a, big, like let's say this is like, looks like this would be like a big storage chest or something. You can't see the fourth leg, it's right there. Like this surface right here obscures your ability to see that. I do see it, I mentioned like the mystery leg that comes down from nowhere. Sometimes I'll see like someone will do like a little like leg sticking down there. And it's only because it bothers you too much to only draw 3 legs, and you try to force a 4th leg in there, and it's got no place in the drawing. So watch out. If it happens, don't feel too badly. You wouldn't be the only one. All right? So, there. Now, good. And then we'll just draw some more of these. Like you can draw some stuff like right here. When I draw them, you can start by you can start by drawing out from the vanishing point and creating like the top and the bottom edge of that side. If like, I know I want it to be over there, and then wherever I have the height, I'll come down to the vanishing point on the right. The side, it goes this, it's like it stops here. You're making these up so you don't really have any like specific requirements for the scale. But first off, I want you to just practice using the method. Okay. Then I might just draw a little something way back here. That there. So again, this is eye level. These are like, this would be a very tall object. This is all completely below eye level, if I can see the top. And then here, I think what I'm going to do is overlap this. There. From here to there, it would miss. You see that it would miss this edge right here. Okay. Lighten that without completely getting rid of all of those guidelines. I know I want something there. I can just start by drawing that. A little tiny thing. There. Good. Okay. 5, 6. 2 to go. Actually, I want to show you this. Let's say I have something like way down in here. All right. Good. So I could keep drawing. I've got paper. I could keep drawing all the way over here. Here, if I go to the right of the vanishing point, I'm going like way out. I'm even going outside my peripheral vision. That's not realistic. This also starts to look weird and pointy at the bottom because it's getting way down into the, it's getting outside of what is really, it's outside of what you would actually see or even be able to see. If you're looking, so in a perspective drawing, like in this case, the view is here in the middle of the sheet, and then you see all this stuff like this sort of gets outside, like this is even here out in your peripheral vision. But you can draw it, and so you want to be careful about the, you want to be careful about like the space that you're drawing. If I need to see it all like, comfortably, I would keep all the important information here. If I needed to get all of these objects in and not have the distortion, I should reduce the scale. I should just start out drawing them smaller, and then I could keep the whole group like in this area, and then I would like not get this like, super pointy corner. Because visually it's like, it's like kind of a little disturbing to the vision to see it, because it's like, it's like, there's something wrong with it, even if you've drawn it correctly. Okay? So, and like a drawing like this that's done for demonstration, you can do that and just say like, okay, like you did it to see what would happen, then fine. Okay. Any questions about that?
Are we supposed to draw 8 boxes as well?
Yes.
This report? Okay.
Yes.
And we turn that in next week?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so 8 of these. And I would like you to try some things with them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here, I'll show you this. If I draw this here, that's the shape of this object on the, like this is the bottom. I think being able to imagine the planes you're drawing in perspective, I think is helpful. Perspective can be a very straightforward kind of mechanical thing, but you're still using your imagination. So here, if I say like from here I go up, that's the height. And then rather than just like trying to draw the other 3 and guessing, what I do is I draw to the vanishing point, and then here's the height. And so then from here I draw up to that line, and then out in perspective. Here, this edge comes out, and when it's over this, I draw that up. And then I have this. And, it's close. I kind of like, fudge some of my lines to correct, to make sure that this is going to the vanishing point. Now, I might not have one of my verticals straight, and so it could throw off where the intersection of that happens in the corner. I'm drawing this stuff freehand, and it's kind of sketchy. And as long as it's close and doesn't look obviously inaccurate, I would leave it. And there's something to be said for, especially when you're learning this, to go to the trouble to make it correct. But There is definitely in freehand perspective drawing, there's definitely such a thing as close enough, which is actually, you know, it's true in most things in life. All right. It's fun to draw. I love drawing. It's fun. All right. Good. There's my 8 objects. Now, I want to show you a method where you could draw these basic objects, or just like the basic form. Tracing paper. Dots. All right, I can still see through it. It's a little too tight and it's making it bend a little. Good. See, tracing paper is one of your best friends. And I'm going to take so here's where I guess you could use some like a more saturated colored pencil. Just have you do this. This is a different. Yeah, this is a different Caran d'Ache. This is like a nice fine art soft pencil. Anyway, let's say so here. And that's not going to be very clear. Ouch. I know. I'll just do that with this guy in the foreground. Get an enlargement like that. Let's see, so I can see the base there. I'm going to make this there. I'll find the center. I'm going to, you do this on any rectangle, whether it's, just like a flat rectangle or in perspective, if you cross the diagonals from corner to corner, you'll find the middle right there. In perspective, that's important because if you cut that in half in the middle, because objects appear to get smaller as they recede, the front half or the closer half will look bigger than the farther half. And so if you do this, like if you have this rectangle in perspective and you measure and put it like right in the center, it will look wrong in perspective. Cross the diagonals and it'll just give it to you. Right? Corner down there. There's the middle. That. Yeah, so their center would be about there of that. It's useful. It allows you to draw it correctly without even needing to know the dimensions of it. Okay, now these legs here, if I'm going to put little, like I'm sketching in little legs because this is just like a first day noodling around with 2-point perspective. A leg here, if this is like, I'm going to draw a little inset right here. There's the corner. Of this, and the leg comes down. I want it to be like a leg on this thing that actually looks like somebody thought about the leg, and so it tapers a little bit and gets smaller to the base. If this edge here goes to the vanishing point, so does that really short little edge there goes to the vanishing point, and that goes to the little vanishing point. And I say that because I want to make sure you would not have the leg just come down and look like that. It has to have that angle to the vanishing point. If it's like a tapered cylinder of a leg, it might, it would just have like a slight curve, and then you have that corner, maybe shade on the side like that. Does this make sense to you? Maybe a little past where you're at, but that to say, like down here, I'm sketching these in, and it's a little hard to see them, so I wanted to show you, like with this little inset here, what would actually be going on down in there. So, good. Any questions about 2-point perspective?
Yes. Duffy, the last little inset that you did for that tapering leg, yes, where you're pointing, is that kind of a horizontal bottom?
It's a little bit of a curve. So if this is like a tapered cylinder,
Okay.
that's a slight curve.
Okay. I see.
Yep. This, if it's cut like 90 degrees and tapered, that would be a sharp corner.
I get that one, but thank you for clarifying that last one.
Yep. And that's, and sometimes like that's what you'll encounter. And this is actually a lot more forgiving and simpler to draw. Like without shading, you can only just draw like the shape.
So do you understand 2-point perspective versus 1-point perspective? In 1-point perspective, all planes, horizontal or vertical, will go to the same vanishing point. But in 2-point, say like the vertical goes to one vanishing point and horizontal goes to another. Is that, do I understand it correctly?
Well,
And where they meet, you get an angle.
all right, so the verticals are always, in this case, the verticals are always going to just be straight up and down, perpendicular to the horizon line,
Okay.
no matter whether it's 1 or 2-point perspective. But in in 2-point perspective, you have there's like on this object right here. These two edges, like here and here, are parallel to each other, and they will be drawn to recede to that vanishing point. These others will be drawn to recede to this vanishing point. But in 1-point perspective, there's the vertical, and there are the edges that like a set of edges that recede, and then the front and the back are drawn parallel to the horizon line. So the 1-point is simpler in terms of what is receding to the vanishing point.
Okay.
Yes. And then the 2-point, 2-point tends to look more realistic because it's because it's more complex.
Mm-hmm.
1-point perspective, can be made to look accurate in terms it can make a realistic space, but it can look artificial because it looks it's almost like it looks a little too organized, but it's just because it's, and you can certainly see, you can certainly see a space in 1-point perspective. If you stand in the middle of your street, and if it's a straight street and you look straight down it, and you focus on what's just right in front of you on the horizon, and then you try to see the sides, the sidewalk, houses on either side, try to see that in your peripheral vision, it'll be in 1-point perspective. Things like trees will not be, trees don't have the right angles on them, and so you won't have, that's a little bit more complex. And scale would be a more way you would draw, you would show distance with landscape. But we'll do it, we're gonna, you'll need a little bit, if you have an interior view, an interior space, and there's a window and you can see an exterior, you've got to put something plausible out there. It doesn't have to be super detailed. And we'll talk later, later in the semester about ways that you summarize something like landscape or, urban or some kind of, architectural scene outdoors. But the focus with the perspective, interior perspective, for this class, is the interior. Okay, now does it make sense to use, if you see, I can do this drawing, mess around with, put the tracing paper over it, mess around with that object, and then I can lift it and I see I still have the same object. You can do it this way if you want to. You can, you can take these and experiment with, ways that you change them just by, drawing directly onto this if you wanted to.
Just by doodling over those plates, really.
What's that?
By just drawing over those exact plates.
Yeah. So the thing is, I want you to practice using using perspective and even making changes, and to do so, like just so that you can have an understanding of how to control it. So, like, let's say, like this object right here. Let's take a different color. Let's say I'm just going to put like I can do this with like an opening here. This is just like a simple change, and I think that it's something that can be useful to you. Even just to like make a simple change like that and show that now there's space that goes through it like that. And really, I just drew another smaller rectangle on the face of it down to the bottom edge. And from this new corner down here that I could see, there actually would be like one down here too that you can't see because this surface blocks it. But this all, very quickly allows you to create a more complex form. And like this, you could, something like a move like that could allow you to start to turn this into furniture.
Yeah, it's a little bit more complex. I'll have to play with it for a little bit. So basically, you will still have, so you won't have the horizontal plane that is kind of parallel to the horizon almost, right? It will recede. Well, the plane will recede, so you won't have that, but you will always have that vertical straight edge. Is that, do I kind of define it correctly or no?
Yes. In 2-point perspective, you don't have, like, in 1 point, you'll have, like, some of the edges that are just horizontal.
Mm-hmm.
But in 2 point, you don't. 2 point, like, 2 point, they're angling either this way or this way. Like, you can imagine, like, if you can imagine, like, in, like, a 1 point view of this object right here
Mm-hmm.
would be if there's somebody standing, like, here. Looking that way.
Mm-hmm.
So like this whole surface would just be like flat in front of them.
Yeah.
But for us, for the viewer of this image, you're just like looking here, and then you see all this stuff arrayed in front of you. But all of it's turned. Okay. Good. So yeah, so like these guys. So pencil, you are here. Good. All right. Now I'm going to draw something. I think maybe I'll draw the same thing in 1 and 2 point perspective. And it'll start out just like a blocky looks like just like a rectangular form. That'll turn it into something that looks maybe like a chair or a sofa, just so you can see how that works. Okay. So here, a little bigger. Okay. No. Good. All right. So back to, so this will be 1 point perspective. So this is 1 point. And of course, you know it's 1 point because there's one vanishing point. Pretty good. And I'm going to draw this object maybe like here. I'll draw this off to the right. Sketch that. Like that. I'm going to just notch this like here and make this kind of like an L shape. And I'm going to take this part off so I can erase a little there. This is up at the top. I made a new corner here, here, and here. From these new corners back to the vanishing point. Okay, this lines up with this. That's a little awkward. There's no reason for that. But if I draw like back here, back here, back here, when this edge reaches the back, like the end of it here, I'll draw parallel horizontal. And then when I reach that corner, like this intersection here, then I draw up. And then you see what I get is that. It's kind of straightforward. I'm like from right here, I'm well on my way to drawing a lot of different furniture pieces. Because if I have like, curve it a little bit, starts to look a little bit more like it might actually be a comfortable piece of furniture. There might be like a seam there. I might soften the back edge a little bit and maybe angle it. You start vertical, and then if you need to angle a little bit, you can. I'm going to lift, put an edge a little higher to lift it off the floor. I hear Joey tearing up the furniture again. There. This is a little, some of these things like down in like that corner, that's going to be a little tough to draw just because it's, it's very foreshortened, but I'm going to try it. I've got the corner there. There's like a little bit there. Again, here, that's horizontal, and then this angle, the bottom of that angle is toward the vanishing point. There. Maybe I'll curve that a little bit so that it's got a little bit of pitch to the seat. soften the edges a little bit. Or I can just like give it the cushion. I'm just going to approximate where that middle is. There. Not sure. This is a little too. Yeah, watch out for like, you know, making these like the short little leg too blocky and clunky. All right. And then if you really want to, you know, have some fun, you don't have to put the throw pillows on there, but you can. Yeah, still okay. All right. So that's a 1-point drawing of that object. And if you wanted to, you could draw the block and put the tracing paper on it, or you can just go right at it by erasing. I think I'll do the 2-point drawing with the trace. And a little bit smaller so we can see. Vanishing point, vanishing point. Let's see here. And you know, if you're standing up and looking at an object like a sofa or a chair, the whole thing is going to be below your eye level. So draw it down. Keep the whole object down below your eye level. Okay. I'm going to imagine this one that I'm seeing it. Let's see. Ah, that's weird. Yeah, see, I really couldn't see. Okay. Okay. All right, that's good. Okay. Alrighty. So, similar to the other one, just a vertical here and then down there. This to this, vanishing them from here over to the there. There. Okay. So it's important that, you know, you can see how to do something like this, because just keeping that, you know, even like, you know, not even trying to make this look like a, you know, specific like designed object, just cutting this notch out of it, being able to see how to do that, or you start with that, you know, you cut this kind of like a notch out of it and make it an L shape. So this, what's understood to be positive form, is that there. And then here. Also. So you can see where if I like, I got that. So I can put this up here and see that. So that's you know, that's an important thing to be able to do. Chuck that one. Okay. All right. Okay, it goes there. Okay. That is good. Just compare that. It'll look weird if I put it up there, then it makes no, you know, it's kind of like, you can see how that doesn't make sense since it was drawn to sit on the ground. But that's another way, you know, to show that change is to put the trace over it and draw with some colored pencil. All right. There. So I would say by next Wednesday at 1 o'clock, I would like all of you to have 2 different drawings. One drawing is going to be done all in 1-point perspective. The other drawing is going to be done all in 2-point perspective. I want you to draw 8 forms using the same view, like the same, you know, the same perspective. So all 8 forms in the 1-point perspective will be using that one vanishing point. All 8 forms in the 2-point drawing will be using those 2 vanishing points on the outside. And I would like you to, at the very least, just draw them all accurately without alteration or changes or anything like that. Okay? I would love it if you would try to make some changes to them, like I did here with this guy, like I did with that other, the 2-point, you know, sort of like really simple sofa-ish looking form. I will post this video on my YouTube channel so you can see it. You know, look at it at your convenience. And so try it. Well, I will do is I want to see your drawings next week. Answer questions, and I think we'll take a little bit more time to work on them. But then I'm going to do some more demonstration of how to draw like the basic forms, more ways of doing alterations, more types of alterations, and then start getting into demonstrating how you would draw simple furniture objects. You might start thinking about what kind of furniture objects you would like to draw because you're going to have an assignment to draw furniture in perspective. And simple objects, like I've had students who will want to draw something that's really cool and complicated, but you can't, if you don't, but they don't have the ability to do it yet. I want you to get there with, drawing complex perspective, but I want you to also draw something that is achievable for you. So even like an ottoman, if you found a picture of an ottoman that had like, a cushion, then like like the body of it, and then it's raised and it's got some legs on it, demonstrate to yourself and to me that you can draw that before you try to take on, something like the Isamu Noguchi mid-century modern sofa that has no straight edges on. Okay? And I know I've had people bring pictures of that, and it's like, come on, like, I'll show you how to do it, but it's really it's a challenging object. And like, I know people can. I mean, you can learn how to do this. This is not like anything that people have done in the past. You can learn how to do, whether it is drawing with perspective, whether it is calculus, whether it is playing the piano. Any of that stuff, other people, we all have the same basic abilities, and in a lot of cases, if you don't use them, you lose, you have to like work hard to get this, sort of like it's like exercise. If you're out of shape, you're out of shape, and you need to get in shape, and you can't just, if you decide like you're out of shape, you want to run a marathon, you don't just like go out and run a marathon. You start slow. So let yourself get there gradually, and you'll get there. Questions? I will post. Go ahead.
Do you want us to turn each box into like a piece of furniture?
Eventually, yes. It doesn't have to be a piece of furniture. It's just going to have to be like a change.
Okay.
But you don't have to do all that for next week. You could, but I want to make sure the basics are understood first.
Okay.
And first, just drawing the basic forms. If you have the basic forms, if you've already done perspective and that's not challenging, that's not the challenging part right now, then I would say take it as far as you can, and try making changes on all of them.
Okay.
Yeah, because I will, before you turn it in at the end of the day, like midnight next Wednesday, I will want you to make changes on all of them.
Okay. Got it.
I want to give you time to, make sure that I don't expect you to do it all right now.
Okay. Cool. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. All righty. Well, that's going to be enough for today. I will post the videos. I will post some instructions for you. Sorry it's not there yet, but it will be. And if you have questions, you can send me an email and ask me. And I see a message about, Wendy, go ahead and send me a picture. Okay.
Thank you. See you next week.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.